Okay, so today we're talking about simultaneous equations. This is a GCSE topic, but it is also part of the IB. And here the idea is that the graphical interpretation of this is that we have two lines, two straight lines like this, and we want to find where they cross, where they intersect. But because we are basically too lazy to draw the lines and find where they meet every time, we use algebra. Algebra was invented in order for lazy people to solve problems more quickly, and we love it for it. So say, for example, you've got to solve these simultaneous equations here. I'm going to zoom in and show you basically what they look like. So here we've got y is equal to x minus 3 and 2x plus 3y is equal to 16. So immediately you notice one is given in a different format than the other. But that's fine, it's not the end of the world. One way of doing this would be to do it by substitution. So you see here we've got two options given, substitution and elimination. We'll mention both of them. And there's a third one as well, actually. I'm going to write it down here. The third one would be the calculator. So the calculator would be the thug life method. So basically we've got three methods. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's move on to this one. How do we start with substitution? Well, substitution means we take y is equal to something, or x is equal to something for that matter, and we put it into the other formula. So in this case, it's already been done for us. So it would be wise to just use y is equal to x minus 3 and just go ahead and substitute into the other formula, because you see, just go ahead and replace the y with x minus 3. So what would that give us? Let's see. It would give us, we can get rid of the first one now and say we will have 2x plus 3 times x minus 3 is equal to 16. So here, now we will expand the brackets, but firstly, let's notice there's no y here, which means we have an equation which only has that x, so we can find x by solving this. So let's expand the brackets. We get 2x plus 3x minus 9 is equal to 16. We'll just multiply the brackets, expanding by multiplying by 3. And now we'll collect like terms here. So 2x plus 3x gives us 5x. So we have 5x minus 9 is 16. Let's just carry on here. So 5x minus 9 is 16. If I just carry on here on the right, we will have that 5x is equal to, so let's go ahead and add the 9 to both sides. 5x is equal to 25 if we do that. And then if we divide both sides by 5, we see that x is 5. So what have we gotten to? Well, we took this y is equal to x minus 3, substituted it into the other equation, and we found x is 5. Brilliant. Let's see now. We are missing one bit, which is the y. So how do we find y here? Well, you see how y is equal to x minus 3. If you take this x is 5 and substitute it in the first formula now, you can find y. So y is going to be equal to 5 minus 3, which means y is equal to 2. So we found x is 5 and y is 2. So our final answer here would be, if this were an exam, you would say 5, 2. This is the point of intersection between these two lines. So graphically, if I just zoom out a bit to show you what this means, well, it means that these two lines here, they meet right there, where the point has coordinates 5, 2. Brilliant. That is the idea. This is an example of how you solve simultaneous equations by substitution. So this is an example for substitution. Now, let's move on to a second example. So let's go further down here and let's see how we would do it by elimination. So the idea with this one is that when we have two lines which have been given in this format, ax plus by is c, and another one, dx plus ey is f, let's say. So x is here, y is here, and the numbers on the other side. Then we want to do something to eliminate one of the two unknowns. So we want to somehow add or subtract the two lines to get rid of them. But notice here, if I add them, I get 5x, and if I add them, I get positive y. So nothing gets cancelled out. And if I subtract them, neither in that case will I get something simplified to cancel out. So what we do in this case is we use a trick, which is to multiply the first row by a number, multiply the second row by another number. So we want to multiply, and then that way we'll get the same number so we can eliminate them. So let's see, if we multiply the first one by 2, where did I get that 2? I got it here. And let's go ahead and multiply the second one by 3. Where did I get that 3? Well, right here. What am I trying to achieve here? I'm trying to get the x's to be the same number, to have the same coefficient really. So I'll go ahead and multiply the entire row by 2. So if I do that, I get 6x plus 8y is 8. So I've just multiplied everything by 2. That's allowed. When you have an equation, you can multiply both sides by the same number. Second row, we multiply everything by 3. So 2x becomes 6x. 3y becomes minus 9y, because it was minus 3y really. The minus stays the same. And then 7 becomes 21. Yes?
Why? Because it's 4.
Ah, thanks for that, guys. Somebody was actually paying attention. Yes, 2 times 2 is not 8, it's 4. Thank you. So basically, now it should be right. Yes, great. So why does this make us happy? Because we have the same here. We've got 6x and we've got 6x. So I'm going to put a smiley face here. Everything is just 6x. Yes. So now we can go ahead and simplify something. How do we do it? Well, I'm going to draw a little line underneath. And now we're always allowed to do this. Either add everything vertically, add by part, or subtract. Now in this case, notice, because it's 6x and 6x, we will need to subtract to eliminate it. So we need to do minus, and although this is not mathematically correct, minus the entire thing. Mathematically, this you wouldn't write it down this way, minus brackets an entire row, but I think it's good for you guys to understand what it is we are doing. So firstly, we are doing 6x minus 6x. What does that give us here? 0, because 6x minus 6x just disappears. Moving on to the next bit, positive 8y minus 9y. So plus, this minus minus becomes plus. So 8y plus 9y. Yes, let me write it down. So we had 8y minus 9y, which became 8y plus 9y, which becomes 17y. So here we have plus 17y. That is what we get on the left-hand side. So let's move on to the right. What is 4? Careful. Minus 21. So 4 minus 21? Minus 17 is correct. So we have 17y is minus 17. So what does that mean about y? What is it equal to? Minus 1. That's it. So y is minus 1. So we eliminated one of the unknowns here in this step, and then we found y. So we can go back now and find the value of x. But how do we find the value of x? Well, here it's up to you guys. You can choose either, so you can choose either the first one, which is 3x plus 4y is 2, or the second one, 2x minus 3y is 7. It's totally up to you. It's going to give you exactly the same result. Basically, you just replace y with minus 1, and that's going to give you your x value. So which one should we choose, the first one or the second one? Second one. Okay, well, let's choose the second one. So if y is equal to minus 1, let's see what we get. We get 2x minus 3 times minus 1 is equal to 7. So we get 2x plus 3 is 7, which means 2x is 4, which means x is 2. So the final answer here would be that we have a point which is 2 comma minus 1. This would be the final answer. So just to recap, we eliminated one of the unknowns, we found the value of y, and went back into the original equations to find x. You will see that the textbook has actually done it a bit differently here. They've done the first one times 3 and the second one times 4. There are multiple ways to do this, really. You can always come up with a way that suits you best. So they eliminated the y value, and then they found the x value, but it's just equivalent. So that was an example of the second method, and I'll just very quickly show you something really cool here, which is this problem solved on the calculator. So what do we need to do here? Well, if we have a Casio here, we go into the calculator menu and we go into equation. So if you open this equation and you go into simultaneous, so that would be F1, it says, how many unknowns do you have? Well, it's x and y. So it's one of the simple ones. We won't really have more tricky ones here for a while. We'll just select F1, which is 2. And then you see it gives you A, B, and C. So they mean this 3, the 4, the 2, the -3, and the 7. These are the numbers we need to put into the calculator. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy these. Bless you. 3, +4. Let's just put it in there. +4, and then 2. And then in the second row, I just copy the 2, I copy the -3, and I copy the 7. And that's it. We just copied all of the coefficients, really. The only thing we don't copy is the x and the y. So we just select solve, which is F1. And look at that, 2 and -1. Let's see what we got manually. 2 and -1. Pretty cool, right? So just to recap, menu, equation, and then in the equation menu, you've got 3 options: simultaneous, polynomial, and solver. You want to select simultaneous, number of unknowns 2, and copy all of these numbers you were given here, and then solve. And that gives you your answer for x and y. In fact, there is one more method, which if I were to mention briefly here, you would go into graph, and you would just type in these 2 equations. But because it's going to take me a while here to do it, I'm not going to do it at the moment. We are going to do it when we talk about graphs and stuff like that. There is also another method to find the point of intersection between 2 graphs, but don't worry about it for now. So I'll just stop the recording here, and then I'll give you some time to ask questions or answer questions and think.